Hi everyone, I'm Mike and this is the Sunday Art Show. Right, so what I would do is, I'll take a slightly different approach to what I did before, just so that you can see a bit of variety really. But so what I'll do this time is, rather than measure straight away, I'll just do a loose sketch with the brush instead of the pen, and then we'll go from there. So what I would do in this case then is I would just, again, keeping the shapes fairly simple, and I'm deliberately holding the brush back here so I can't get too fussy. I've got this rather greeny brown, which isn't quite appropriate for the horse, but it might be okay for the background in a moment. And we'll just start to pick out the main shapes. Now it's a little bit of a funny reference really, because the mane is so long and it's getting swept about in the wind that it kind of distorts the structure of the animal's body. So in terms of getting the anatomy right, I'm sort of doing my best to ignore those fluffy bits basically, and using a little bit of imagination just to connect those points. But we'll see how we go. So having done that, and then one of the ways I really like to work, I can show you again later if you want, is I like using dry brush for drawings with the brush. Because as the paint runs out on the bristles, you get these. You always get something different each time. Basically, you can't. If I sort of do that, I can't replicate exactly that mark again. So I really like drawing with the brush. But I will try and create a painting here for you. Okay, so there's our quick outline, and just looking at it from my point of view, I think I've made a few mistakes already. What I would typically do if I was at home is I'd come back here and think, is that reasonably proportioned? It doesn't look quite so bad from here, so I think it's not too bad. So what I would do next is, sticking with the same brush, just take most of the paint off of the bristles. And because it's a sort of an orangey brown animal, let's take some cadmium red, and I'll just soften that a bit by mixing it in with the kind of muddy brown that I had before. And I'll go around once again, just like I did with the cow earlier, but this time being a bit more careful. And so the reason the quick sketch works as a kind of guide, the idea, this line may not be right, but it's much easier for me to judge whether it's wrong that way or that way, because I've got a mark there, than just try and get it completely right the first time, you know. And of course, the more you practice, the closer you get to getting it right in general. So I can now see, having put that down, that the front of the horse's head is actually coming down at a steeper angle. And the line of the jaw there, that was okay, I think. Then he's got this bit of hair being blown out. There's a little bit of an ear poking through there. And then the mane kind of comes along and dips down at a funny angle. Comes down here. It's being swept up in the wind there. And then at that stage I'll probably stop and just measure again, just to make sure I'm not a million miles away. So what I'm doing is I've just measured the length of the head compared to the distance from the front of the head to the base of the neck, and they appear to be about the same in the photo. So when it comes to measuring, and I've got them more or less the same on the drawing, so that's not too bad. But when it comes to measuring, the idea is not to be, you don't have to be hyper strict with yourself, but you're just trying to make sure that the head isn't twice as long as it should be, you know. Because often the things we get slightly wrong is what